Colonel Michael Cluff, C-L-U-F-F, and I'm with the United States Marine Corps. I spent 30 years with the Marine Corps. I came in 1962 and retired in 1992. Before Vietnam, I was also stationed at El Toro, California. My first introduction and a sad occasion for that was that I was stationed there, and I was called one morning very early and said that a jet plane, 707 Air Force jet, had crashed in the mountains behind El Toro, and they wanted somebody to come to the hangar. Well, it turns out that there were a plane load of ammo technicians, Marines, on the 707 that crashed into the mountain, and they were all killed. So they were all dressed, ready for combat, and so I then got my first touch of what it was to be around people who had been killed. And I had 100 and some body bags that I had to go through, which was a very traumatic experience for me before I got to Vietnam. But it sort of gave me an introduction that you could say made me think more about Vietnam and the value of life. So then I went to Vietnam after serving with the Reconnaissance Battalion in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, where our mission was primarily to get people ready to go to Vietnam and send them out. We didn't have enough people for the most part, so we were training people and then they were gone. And I also, at that point, we'd send people away for their tour in Vietnam, and then we get the records back. Many of them were lost in combat because they were in reconnaissance units and they were up doing their wild things that recon people do. I got to Vietnam in the summer of, I'm 67, and I was assigned to the 3rd Amphibious Tractor Battalion. That's the organization that moves troops from ship to shore. We weren't doing much ship to shore because amphibious operations were not being conducted, so we essentially were moving troops in the field. And we lost a lot of people in our Amtrak battalion to mines. We hit a lot of mines, and we also had an area that we were responsible for defending to keep the enemy from moving into Da Nang. And I was a company commander at that point, and it had the headquarters and service company of about 360 some folks, along with some LVTs and line charge tractors and so on. So I had that area of responsibility as we were building a brand new camp in that region just south of the Marble Mountain. While there, we had several attacks on our camp, and we saw a lot of opportunity where the VC, or the North Vietnamese, were firing rockets into Da Nang. We'd go over and we were trying to find out where these rockets came from, and we attacked those areas. We would go out into the village and patrol the villages. We worked with the people. I think the most important part of it that we often miss about Vietnam was the fact that we went out and spent a lot of time in the villages helping the people. And the first mission that I ever ran was to take a small unit of people with a doctor, a dentist, and a bunch of corpsmen out into the village and give them medical services. And we did that for half a day, and we served them took them a lunch out there and fed them. And so we had those kinds of things, civil action things that were going on all the time, and we were spending a lot of time at that. And the people, I felt very good about the relationship that we had to the people in the villages. However, you could go out to the village the next day and start patrolling around there, and as I had displayed out there, the punji sticks and the pits and the mines and grenades were found all over the place. So, you never knew, the people themselves and the kids were always friendly. But you never saw the young men because they were off doing their thing for the other side. So that came a little frustrating. The thing that we dealt with the most on a day-to-day basis was minefields. We'd have trucks that come in and out and moving supplies, and because we had units stationed all over the Da Nang area, we would have to send ammunition, fuel, and stuff like that out. So we lost a lot of people just moving around and taking these things, taking supplies out. We lose Amtrak's would be moving in various operations and so forth. We also had units assigned with the Korean division that was over there, the South Korean division, and so we supported them, and so that was the international aspect of it. So, you know, it was a family fight, and it wasn't just the United States. We also had some French that were in the area, and Australians, and so we did work with a lot of people, and they had Red Cross and other organizations that would come and work out of our camp so it was a fairly extensive effort that you had there that people forget about.